If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Nature hath given men one tongue but two ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak. The bee doesn't waste its time trying to convince the fly that honey is better than shit. Nothing in life that is worth having comes easy. If you find yourself acting to impress others, or avoiding action out of fear of what they might think, you have left the path. Man is not worried by real problems so much as his imagined anxieties about real problems. You train people how to treat you, unconsciously or not. No one raindrop thinks it causes the flood. You are either part of the problem or part of the solution. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. Don't die until you're done. You might be the sweetest peach on the tree, but some people just don't like peaches. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. It's possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. It is our attitude towards events, not events themselves, which we can control. Nothing is by its own nature calamitous. Even death is terrible only if we fear it. Give me, by all means, the shorter and nobler life, instead of one that is longer, but of less account. No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. Is freedom anything other than the right to live as we wish? Nothing else. Whenever someone helps or hinders you, or praises or criticizes you, remember that they see you only through the lens of their own impressions. If they act or speak from a warped perspective, they hurt themselves, not you. The days are long, the years are short. Heard this after I had my first kid. Couldn't be more true. The reason you want to be better than someone else is the reason why you aren't. Embrace stress as the opposite of apathy. What would you do if you weren't afraid? There are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around, you could miss it. Everything outside of this moment is just imagination. I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. To realize that you are not your thoughts is when you begin to awaken spiritually. The world is a tragedy to those who feel, but a comedy to those who think. Never go to the past, not for happiness, not for justification, not for excuses. The world is what it is. You are what you are. People don't forget. Nothing gets forgiven. Things are only impossible until they are not. Any thought you have about the future is a delusion. Someone once told me the meaning of hell. On your last day on the earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. You're going to make a lot of people mad doing what's right for you. You can't cross the ocean until you lose sight of the shore. It's easy to fool someone. It's hard to convince them that they've been fooled. Quietly work. Let success speak up. It is not a lack of time. It is a lack of priority. If you stopped seeing the world in terms of what you like and what you dislike, and saw things for what they truly are in themselves, you would find a great deal more peace in your life. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would have mentioned these alone." The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all the bad guy in someone's story. The only person who's ever gonna remember your hard work is you, not this company, not your boss, only you. It's not worth killing yourself over a company that'll replace you in 2 days if you're gone. No man is free who is not a master of himself. Just because someone's single doesn't mean they're lonely. Just like when someone's in a crowd doesn't mean they're not alone. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. It's better to live with one person of high soul and to be calm and independent than to lead a miserable life in the society of many. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. 1,000 days of lessons for discipline, 10,000 days of lessons for mastery. There is more to life than increasing its speed. The ultimate aim of martial arts is not having to use them. It is difficult to understand the universe if you only study one planet. True warriors are fierce because their training is fierce. You can only fight the way you practice. Understand the harm and benefit of everything. With your spirit open and unconstricted, look at things from a high point of view. In battle, if you make your opponent flinch, you have already won. Step by step, walk the 1,000-mile road. It is unrealistic to expect people to see you as you see yourself. Difficulty shows what men are. We must not believe the many who say that only free people ought to be educated, but we should rather believe the philosophers who say that only the educated are free. In banquets, remember that you entertain two guests, body and soul, and whatever you shall have given to the body, you soon eject. But what you shall have given to the soul, you keep always. Be careful with who you communicate with. People tend to imitate habits. Those with whom we interact, we inadvertently adopt their interests, their opinions, their values, and their habits interpret events. Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. There's no point in being grown up if you can't act a little childish sometimes. Socializing is just like any skill. You need to practice before you're good at it. Just because you got away with a bad decision doesn't make it a good decision. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who was actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. It's not your fault things are the way they are.